All right, welcome to your Algebra 3 final review videos. We're doing number 29 and 30 and getting ready for that T1 final. This one says, what is the product in simplest form? Identify your domain. Essentially what we're doing for this one is we're going to simplify the top and the bottom of each of our fractions, and then we're going to end up writing it all as one big fraction. Now one thing I notice, I'm going to write my big fraction over here. Right off the bat, we have y squared on top. That's already simplified. I can't do anything else with that. So we're going to write y squared. I also see y plus 6. That's also simplified. I'm going to write that on the bottom, but I'm going to leave it in parentheses. My next one, we have y squared plus 5x minus 6. We are looking for something that multiplies to negative 6 and adds to 5. It is going to be 6 and negative 1. So on top over here, we're going to have x plus 6 times x minus 1. Now we're multiplying, but we're not like actually multiplying. You will not distribute anything. You will not do the box method. You're just going to write it all together and then cancel stuff out. For my second part on the bottom, we have y squared plus 2y. We're going to factor out a GCF. It's going to be y. They both have y. We'll divide them both by y. Y squared divided by y gives you y. 2y divided by y gives me a plus 2. So the bottom we have y times y plus 2. Now, as you've learned in our previous videos, if you've watched them, before we do anything else, we are going to go ahead and find our denominator. To do that, we're going to take this whole thing and set equal to 0. So I have y plus 6 equals 0, y equals 0, and y plus 2 equals 0. Now we're going to do that before we even cancel anything out and think about moving things around. To get rid of my 6, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So you're going to have y equals negative 6. But remember, we are doing our domain, so it's going to be does not equal. My y equals 0 is already alone, so it's going to be does not equal. And my last one, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And you get y does not equal negative 2. Again, these 3 here, they're all part of my domain. All right, our last step is to cancel anything out. So on top, I see a y plus 6. I see a y plus 6. I also notice I have one y on top and two y's on the bottom. So I can get rid of that one on the bottom. We get rid of one on top. So we really just have y times, excuse me, this should be a y and this should be a y. Y minus 1 all over y plus 2. This guy is going to be my final answer. I don't need to factor anything. I don't need to distribute. We're done. That's it. The next one says, what is the quotient in simplified form? Identify your domain. All right, if we are doing quotient, if we are dividing, what we're going to do is we're going to flip that second fraction and multiply. So I'm still going to have x squared minus 16 all over x squared plus 5x plus 6. But now we're going to multiply by x squared minus 2x minus 8. All over x squared plus 5x plus 4. This works just like multiplication now. I need to factor all of the parts. Eventually, it's all going to be part of one big fraction. So I'm going to write a big fraction bar here, and we'll put the parts in as we go. So the first thing I see is I have x squared minus 16. For that one, we can do our square root, our perfect difference of squares method. When we do that, we're going to have two factors. One's going to be a plus in the middle. One's going to have a minus. The square root of x squared is x, so that's going to go first for both. The square root of 16 is 4, so that's going to go second for both. All right, let's look at the denominator of that fraction. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6. We are looking for something that multiplies to 6 and adds to 5. It's going to be 2 and 3. So on our denominator, we're going to have x plus 2 times x plus 3. Let's look at the top of the next one. We have x squared minus 2x minus 8. So we're looking for something that multiplies to negative 8, adds to negative 2. It's going to be negative 4 and a positive 2. So we're going to have x plus 4, or excuse me, x minus 4. No. Oh man, I clicked a button. Oh no, it worked. So x minus 4 and x plus 2. And then my last one, we have x squared plus 5x plus 4. So we're looking for something that multiplies to 4, adds to 5. It's going to be 4 and 1. So we have x plus 4 and x plus 1. Now, as we've seen in my previous videos, in the previous slide, oh, I didn't know I could just do all that. Cool, interesting, weird. We need to find our domain. So to do that, I'm going to take everything in the denominator and I'm going to set it equal to 0. Because you've seen me do this like 3 times and I have all the faith in the world that you can solve for x, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Your domain is going to be x does not equal -2, -3, -4, and -1. I just flipped the signs of all the things in the bottom. Now we're going to go ahead and cancel things out. If something shows up on the top in the bottom, we can get rid of it. I see I have a +2 and a +2. I have a +4 and I have a +4. My final answer, it looks like, is x minus 4 times x minus 4 all over x plus 3 times x plus 1. Now here's my thing. As I've said a million times today, I'm sorry, I don't know how I got these to move separately of each other. I've never been able to do that before. Your final is multiple choice. So as much as I would say this is the right answer, and if you left it on a test, I would give it points, they may also write it as x minus 4 squared all over x plus 3 times x plus 1. I don't know which one they'll pick, to be quite honest with you. They all say the same thing to me, but either of these would be an acceptable answer. This guy would be your domain.